and over again, so that people who missed the session will catch up on it.
Okay.
I call this session selfishly, maybe it's because of me, because I mean, you and I have been speaking since maybe November, December.
Yes.
And I've watched some of your videos, I've heard things that you've done, and I feel like this is my opportunity to get as much from me as possible on record, so that, you know, if I want to go back and catch up on some gems,
you can reference it.
I can reference this. But Titi, thank you so much for joining me. For those who don't know me, my name is Joe Kinvey. I am the co-founder CEO of Borderless, and Borderless is investment infrastructure for the diaspora. I'm super excited and extremely privileged to have Titi Akinsanmi to join us today. Titi wears a lot of hats. Titi is a mentor, leader in our community, but she's here specifically as she's wearing a new hat, which is the founder of Sista Collective. Sista Collective is the first of its kind. It's a female-led, female collective on Borderless, and the whole idea is to mobilize capital. So this thing is moving too fast. Okay, thank you. Mobilize capital. Sorry, oh my God, who's managing this thing?
There we go.
All right, great. So to mobilize capital through a trusted network of women who are committed to inclusive prosperity, shared values, and long-term impact. The idea is, how do you pull capital together to get access to opportunities across multiple asset classes, agri-tech, fintech, health tech, which are grounded in the belief that backing women founded is a high potential, undercapitalized market opportunity where impact and profitability reinforces each other. The other exciting part of that is Sista Collective has women in it, so it's like women backing women, which is super exciting. When we met, Titi, you're funding another female founded startup, which is fantastic, and I think that's how we got here today. I wanted to do an intro of you, but I think I'll be doing a very poor job. So I'll ask the team to take the screen down and maybe ask, in 2026, when somebody asks you to describe yourself, how do you do it?
How would I describe myself? One, that's a really great way of framing.
In 2026 as well.
In 2026. In 2026, if I introduce myself, I would say I'm Titi Akinsanmi, the one who wakes up and only does things that lights her up, with no restraints, with a willingness to speak to the depth of the truth that she is. Why? Because life is too short to be there.
Yep.
I was about to use the word, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's recording. But 2026, Titi description, that's my bio. I only do things that light me up, and very deliberately. And that's a privilege, but also a huge responsibility. And I don't say it lightly. It's not just right. It's only things that really, really, really light me up that I'm willing to do. And that means that there are certain conversations that I just will not entertain. And there are some that I fall headlong into, treading where angels are also afraid to. But, life is to be lived once. That's where I would describe it. And, if I was going to be even more philosophical, which I am typically every single day, is that I live my life by 5 words: inspire, inform, involve, impact, and influence. Those 5 things need to be connected when I am doing, irrespective of what that is that I am doing. So that's who I am. But there's a longer bio. Anybody who's interested, feel free, go to titiakinsanmi.com or check me out on LinkedIn. First word is super connector. I love human beings, many very colored ways that we are. And I love the capacity and the abilities that we have, while recognizing our frailties.
Run me through the 5 I's again. So inspire,
inform, involve, impact, influence. And I've gathered those 5 I's as I have grown in my pathway, discovering purpose, fulfilling it, and getting things done.
What you're making me think is throw away all my questions that I had prepared for this session. Just focus on these 5. Focus on these 5 key. I'm gonna call them the 5 I's, which is it's so inspiring. And I think the first word is inspire.
Correct.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to my
Stick to the script.
I'm going to stick to my script. And I want to take you back to the early days. Again, like I've barely met you. We met in November, December. But then the more I learn about you, your background, you've been doing so much, you've lived across the world. And I want to take you back to South Africa. So you're a Nigerian, you lived in South Africa, you now live in Canada. Those are two different worlds. Like first of all, what was it like living in South Africa as a Nigerian? And how does that compare to your life in Canada now? And it's very topical because of what's happening. Again, I know the media is often over amplifying things that might not necessarily matter, but it's in media, right? I'd love to hear about your experience there professionally, with friends, and how that compares to your, I don't want to say new life, but like your most recent life in Canada.
Yes, most recent life is a good way to describe it. So there's a nickname for me. I'm a Nigerian by birth, South African by choice, but even more recently, Canadian by choice. But at the core of it, I'm an African who firmly believes and has experienced the power we carry as a people. There's a nickname that I have. It's called Omoba Jala, meaning the crown princess who travels. I enjoy travel. I'm a deliberate economic immigrant, meaning I will go where they will pay me the most in ways that aligns with my values, for my skills and my expertise. I am not shy about it. I'm an African expert to the world, not just an immigrant, because sometimes, but we won't go into that philosophy. I lived in South Africa for 17 years, still have a gorgeous home there. I'm deliberate about recognizing that South Africa is intricately linked to the woman that I have become, but not just because I started to live in South Africa in 2001, but because before I even became a speck in my mother's eye, out of her salary came a portion that supported the grassroots guerrilla movement that birthed the Free South Africa. I grew up on the movies of Nelson Mandela, singing the songs of freedom, even though I had never set foot on the country for many years. So my choice, my deliberate choice to pack exactly 2 suitcases and move to South Africa when I got offered a job virtually via Yahoo Messenger, Yahoo
in 2001.
2001. In fact, the offer came eventually in 2001. My choice to move then was informed by that. And to give some more context and color, I said no to a role at MIT and said yes to one out of Johannesburg, South Africa, with intention. Because sometimes people hear and they're like, oh my God, you don't live on the continent. I'm like, you have no idea. The deliberate foundations that have been built that ensured one stepping out of the continent could buttress the narrative that the things that come out of the continent are not only because we first went to Harvard. And yes, I do have a affiliation with Harvard, 3 years of fellowship. But that came later, after they recognized the greatness that came out of Africa. So how has it been? Is it true that South Africa, there's xenophobia? Absolutely. I'm a closet academic, meaning I also teach. And during my time in South Africa, I taught a class at the business school. And I happened to have, as one of my students, the then Minister for Home Affairs, for the Department of Home Affairs. And point blank, one of the things he said to me is that, Titi, I know we don't have a Ministry for Home Affairs. We have a Department for Xenophobic Affairs, because there's a reality that there are policies and regulations that are put in place that make it deliberately hard or harder for people of color from the African continent to find food in South Africa. So it was interesting. It's been interesting. There are only 2 places in the world where I have been made to intensely know that I did not belong by institutions that should be protecting those who are foreigners. And one of those is South Africa, where I was told you're an amakwiri query. You will always be an amakwiri query. You will never be South African. And I smiled at the police officer, a woman, by the way. And I said, actually, I am South African. There's nothing you can do about it. I am South African by choice, and I have paid the dues that allows me to call my fellow brothers and sisters in South Africa. So when I see the things that are happening in media right now, I'm like, yes, it reflects a microcosm that unfortunately has gained voice and is amplified. But some of my best people, some of my best people are South African, and they are brothers, and we refuse to allow the lines that have been drawn to divide us to determine how we work together. I'm a South African, Nigerian, Canadian who has lived in Mauritius, and that is not going to change.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I'm so glad I asked the question.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We are
I can see you doing the struggle like, oh my goodness, this conversation is meant to be this way, but it's this way. That's what happens when you call and you say, oh, Titi, come, let's have a structured but unstructured conversation with you. Feel free to ask the questions. I will do my best.
I love
These
it.
are some of the things that inform why I also started the Sista Collective.
I love it.
Very deliberately.
I will come to Sista Collective, but we are children of the internet. But you talked about how you got an email in 2001.
Yeah.
I did not touch a computer until 2004, I think. And how did they find you? What were you doing? Like, I want to know, like, your career. What did you study? And yeah, like, I think it's law, but you also mentioned English.
I'll tell you.
What got you to that point where you got that email? What happened?
The ones who made it onto this call are maybe the ones who eventually listened to the recording are getting a privileged insight. I've been told, you need to tell your story. You need to speak out a bit more. And I'm like, at the right time, at the right season. I don't tell my story for the sake of it. The influence in my 5 eyes is not for the sake of influencing, so I can be popular. It is purpose oriented. Yes, I got an email in, I believe it was actually early 2001 to mid 2001, because I had probably spent 2001 into 2002. I had spent about a year actively, not a year, 2 years before that. So in 2000, let's track back. Graduated from IFE, greatest of the greatest, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. And I graduated with a first degree in English with a minor in French. In my final year of university, yes, my final year of university, more or less, third year, I came to the realization, because someone said to me, do not touch a personal computer, because they felt that I probably would not be able to operate it. And immediately I was going to go like, no, I have the capability, I can do this. But then I paused and I realized that they were not incorrect in that technically, based on the education system, because I had chosen, I wanted to read law, but the dynamics in Nigeria and the corruption meant that somebody canceled out my name. And I ended up with having a letter that said I had admission into a university, but the department could not find my name because it had been crossed out with a pen.
Wait.
I know.
You're not giving me this story another day. I'm sorry. You're giving me this story now.
Oh,
so you got admitted into law, but you did not get in because your name was not there.
So the university is in Ile-Ife. I was born and bred in Lagos. Had finished secondary school, had written the exam to be able to get into university in the equivalent of SS2, which is like the final year before high school ends. So by the time I was finishing high school, my results were well aligned. And I had this admission that said I could go and I was admitted into Obafemi Awolowo University to study law or international relations, that both would, I could get in. And they usually then produce a list. And at that time, plus or minus, I was 15. My mother puts me into public transport. I had never left Lagos or traveled on my own before. Puts me into public transport in Ojota, Lagos. And I go on this journey, get to the university. She's told me exactly where I need to be able to go. It's orientation for freshers, as they called us. And I go there and literally I cannot find my name because literally I could see it had been cancelled out. And therefore I was told I needed to go to the Senate building and go and talk to the admissions officer. I went there and they're like, yes, you have the letter, but your name is not with the department. So, there's nothing they can do. I'm like, you guys have no idea. So picture a size 000 15-year-old with a huge traveling bag, lugging it around. When they said that to me, after hours of waiting, I just said to myself, I'm going to plunk myself. I plunked myself in front of the VC for admissions office. And I said, I'm not going to leave because there's no way I am going home. I'm telling them I have admission, but I don't have admission. So what are you going to figure out for me? Eventually, they kept denying me, my ability to be able to see the gentleman. Eventually, and I knew nobody. I didn't have an auntie or an uncle or a sister. Il y a rien. There was no one that was known to me. So I'm sitting on the corridor, literally on the corridor. I think this is on the 7th of what floor of the Senate building, high up. And I did not know that the gentleman had a private entrance. Remember, 15-year-old, never been out of home. Apparently, he was right by the private entrance. I'm sitting on the floor. And I didn't know who he was, never seen him before. It was not the age of the internet. And he comes out and he's like, young lady, what are you waiting for? And I told him my story. And I said, I cannot leave. That this needs to be corrected because I did the exam. I have the admission. Cut long story short, I didn't leave there until I had admission. Meaning he was like, okay, I cannot slide you into that particular course, but we have an opening in English arts or English language or philosophy. Pick one. So I got to pick. And I'm like, well, English arts. My mother finished from Great Ife. She did English arts as well. Sounds like a good plan. I will start here and I will transfer when I'm done. That's how I ended up studying English. I've not told that story in decades. I can tell you.
I am so glad I'm the first person to get it out of you.
And it was hilarious. So I got in.
Yes.
And that was where I ended up studying English as my first degree. But it was in the third year of university that I then got told I couldn't handle a computer. And I realized they were correct. Universities went on strike. I made chin chin, which is a West African snack, sold it to colleagues, etc., and used that to pay for evening computer school. And I realized if I was about to graduate in Y2K, the year 2000, where they were seen as technology was going to take over the world, and I was finishing up with my amount of verb, and I didn't have the requisite technology skills. It wasn't just happening to me, it was happening to a whole bunch of other people. So we went in alignment, I and a couple of other friends, and we started training people for free. Eventually, I believe the government and a couple of us actually made some applications. The Nigerian government started supporting us. There's a lot of path. They're talking 26 years.
You sold chin chin to learn how to use computers.
I sold chin chin so I could pay my way through computer school in the evenings.
Yes.
I then used those skills and I continued to sell chin chin to continue to train others, not even children.
You became a teacher.
Yes, to help them understand the value that technology brings and why it doesn't matter whether you study computer science, physics, education, whatever it is. You need to know how to use computers. You need digital skills to be able to thrive in an economy that we're approaching. And I just really made it my concern. And at that point, in doing those trainings, and at a point, the Nigerian information, that story is connected with anybody who's aware of Benga Sheson. He is very much in the not-profit sector. That story was where they're connected to Professor Ajayi, who more or less is credited with bringing the internet to Nigeria and was the founding head of the Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. They then provided us a bus that had a huge satellite dish with which we traveled around Nigeria, the roads of Nigeria, teaching people in the most remote areas. The one that really sticks with me is Zaura Baba in it's a Kano state. We taught this village, they didn't speak English, so we needed to have an interpreter. right? To be able to tell them what a computer was, but we helped them set up their website, right? And taught this, I don't know, those children are probably, not probably, our fathers now, God willing, they're still surviving. And we taught them to build websites and the value of a computer, give them just basic digital skill set, which then kicked off a recognition for me that yes, every child deserves to know how to use technology, but that can only happen if governments have it mandated in the rules and the regulations, which then became a power for me, because it's like, for me to really create impactful change, be that ripple, when a ripple happens, get government to change the rules, get government to make sure the rules work. So I've gone from, okay, we've got to make sure every child is able to access technology skills, which has become a theme across the continent. So it was not only Nigeria I did it for, did it across the continent, did it globally, which is how I connected to the Information Society, the World Summit on the Information Society. I was volunteering and advocating for the inclusion of young people in anything that has to do with writing rules around innovating in technology. You want to write about rules in innovating in technology, but you are not including young people who are actually innovating. Duh. Well, literally, I said that at one meeting, like, duh, to ministers and presidents. And it was from that work that the institution that took me to South Africa then discovered me and were like, oh, since you've been volunteering, we have this role for Open Knowledge Network Manager for Africa. The institution was called oneworld.net. Do I have an interest in taking the role? I said, I'll consider it, because then I was working for Nigeria's first mobile technology value-added services, MTech, founded by Chika Umobi.
Yeah.
If you're an investor, you should know Chika.
Yeah, I know Chika. I know Chika. I think I've met Chika.
You see now. So Chika was my quote-unquote first boss. I was product manager for the first value-added service product. So if you were old enough and you were using MTN then and you were getting news on your mobile phone, USSD.
That was you.
Yeah, ma'am.
Talking about the work that you did on digital skills back then, how is that playing out in the work you're doing with AI policy today? Because I think, I could be wrong, but we're at that stage again where there is a new technology, which is AI. And I'll be very dishonest if I don't ask about your work in AI policy governance.
Me, bless you. You would have to ask it. And that's why I said the thread continues. Remember, I said my 5 eyes have grown with me. It began really with impact, because that was the capacity I had. What's the impact I can actually have in terms of helping people know that technology will change your life like it has changed mine. Then we called it information and communications technologies, helping people have digital skills. The one privilege and opportunity I have always somehow found myself in is being at the very, not just the cusp, but like avant-garde, at the very, very beginning of emerging technologies and helping to shape them. And one thing I have carried through my entire career is, if there's emerging technology, is threading the needle and ensuring that people are being trained appropriately in how the technology works, in how to use it, and the potential pitfalls that it has. And I have been deliberate about doing that, not just with end users or with governments, but also with the innovators themselves. So another fun fact that a lot of people will know about me, because Titi has refused to really write her story. If you write books, come talk to me. Maybe I will say yes. Is a lot of you know Andela. You know Andela Learning Circles. Andela Learning Circles and its ability to be able to see the light of day and putting together very deliberately to address a gap that government saw in terms of policy was funded by me and was kicked off by me in partnership with the guys at Andela. And those are the kinds of things I have been deliberate about doing. If there's emerging technology, if it's about developers, I will build a skill set, I will enable it, and where possible, I will use other people's money, like Google's, to make it happen. Running on other people's money in
good way and in impactful way, in influential ways, in informative ways. I'm essentially literally just reading out the the 5 eyes, because now that's
yes.
I'm using it. I'm copying it, I'm borrowing it because I think it's so dope.
No problem.
Now,
I mean, what part are you going to take this interview? Oh my God.
I don't know, but I'm sure you can tell that I think this is like another version of our conversation. We just brought it online. So for everybody who's joined, yes, I've had the privilege to speak to Titi about so many fantastic things. Because we are an investment technology company, I think it's important that we talk about investing as a Black woman globally.
Yes.
When did you get into investing? Do you remember your first ever investment?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, tell me.
My first, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in diversification when it comes to investment, right? So when you ask me what was my first investment, I smiled because diversified, right? Yes, Mary, feel free, make use of it, copy, but with attribution.
Yep.
Because the lawyer in me is speaking. My first investment was in a leather handbag that I recognized its value back in 2000, thereabouts in October, bought on the railway market in Yaba Ojuri. If you're ever in Lagos, that place, I bought a brown leather bag that I still have with me, and I still carry with pride. I say that because sometimes when we think investment, we only think unidirectional. If I were to sell that bag today, those who know will call it vintage. It would go for a princely sum. But it takes a recognition of the value in that thing, whether it's already produced already, or you can see the potential that it will have, either the creator or the thing itself. I use that to describe what my thesis is around investment. I don't go after shiny things. Some might say, oh, you then miss out on the really big things. Maybe, maybe not. But for me, it needs to connect with my 5 eyes. My very, very first traditional form of investment was, of course, in land, because it was more accessible back then. So I did a couple of things with my first salary, my first formal salary as an NYC person. I bought land in Abeokuta, in Lagos, in Oyo State, in Nigeria. I bought land. I bought shares through IBTC,
the bank.
It's now Standard Bank. Yes, they had an investment arm. And then I also bought securities, I believe, through, what's their name now? I still have them, by the way, all of them. I haven't touched them. I bought securities through another institution. My brain just did a because I've forgotten. They were FSDH. Oof. That's the acronym, FSDH. I still have all of them.
Okay.
The funny thing is, they are all Naira denominated. That's a separate conversation. But I have always recognized that my thesis is informed by some risk, low risk, extremely high risk, and then, the regular things that will hold steady over the years. So those were the first few things I invested in. Have I always invested? No. But I'd love to hear your next question.
No, I want to stick to that because I think about collectibles as investments. Like, I don't buy shoes regularly, but like if I was to buy shoes once a year, I buy designer and I have it. Like, I still have all my, again, like your designers carry value.
Yes.
And then you talked about you bought stocks. I remember there was a time where everybody bought stocks in Nigeria. And then the financial crisis happened, and then everything just went quiet. And the Naira devaluated, and everybody lost faith in stocks. But we're recording this on 11th of June. Tomorrow, the SpaceX IPO is happening, and I saw Bamboo, RiseVest. Literally everybody is selling that stock. The other one I saw today, which kind of like baffled me, is Mono will be making the Dangote IPO available. So it seems like stocks are back again. If you were to invest in these stocks today, what would you do differently? If anything.
Swasage. There's something like swasage. I won't be good, I'll be wise. Right? It's a French saying. It's sage. Don't be good, be wise, right? I am not giving investment advice here.
There's no investment advice here on this call. There's no investment advice on this call.
Who happens to hear this, right? I believe everybody has an investor background of one way or the other. When it looks, you need to calculate your risk. What would I say? Go ahead if you want to, but make sure you're hedging your bets, because a quick rise comes with an almost immediate fall, and you have to be ready for it. Look at historical data. Yes, it will rise. Yes, it will. There will be a steep climb, if not an immediate climb, but there will be a leveling that will come. So make sure you are hedging your bets in that direction. Should you invest in Dangote? If you can, go ahead and do it. But I'm a firm believer in putting money in a diversified fund where they can help you hedge your risks everywhere. But beware of the shiny object. I don't know how else to say it without sounding like I'm trying to knock something out. But beware of the shiny stuff. Because to a large extent, I think we have also, is it that stocks are back in, or that there's a recognition, I think, particularly with the generation who is very much into investing right now, there's a recognition that it's not just investing in startups the way you can actually get a multiplier effect on the money that you put in, but that there's an opportunity to continue to invest in fossil fuels, in historically interesting stock. I don't follow fad, never have. Maybe if I did, I'd be a lot more wealthy, cash-wise, but I have no interest per se in that, except in ways that enables me to be able to do my 5 eyes, so to say, or do things that light me up.
Things that light you up, and it doesn't sound like it's the shiny objects that are everywhere, that are blowing up the social media. More recently, you talked about how you do the very low risk and then high risk. One of the asset classes that we've connected on is startups, which are extremely risky. Many of them go to zero, but every now and again, one of them just shoot up.
Yes.
When did you realize that it was important for you to start investing into startups and diversifying into as using those asset classes to diversify? But one thing that you did that really got us to here today is you are not doing this alone. You're essentially carrying your sisters to invest in ambitious, great, call it African founded startups globally. And that's how we met, because you are a customer of the platform and you were doing a deal and then you came. And then I was like, when I gave that demo to you and the ladies that Saturday, I was so excited. Not because, yes, like you're my customer, the whole thing, but the fact that you have one person who's mobilizing other folks to deploy capital, again, like that really made me feel like I was doing the right thing. I was building the right technology. But I want to know, when was your first investment, and when did you think you couldn't do it not that you couldn't do it by yourself, but like it was important to bring your sisters in?
So a couple of ways I'm going to answer that. One particular way, I'll tread my response in this way. I'm motivated by the investments that I missed out on. Because I did not meet the minimum bar. And I did not connect the dot then to realize that actually there was the potential. Nobody taught me. Nobody said out loud, you can pull money. Even though I knew of Isusu and things like, you can pull money and invest in. And do you know what it was that I missed out on? It was Waterwave.
Ouch.
Big ouch, right? But great ouch. I couldn't make the 10,000.
The minimum.
Yeah, the minimum 10,000. Because there was a window to it. I didn't have the fluidity for it. I myself did not. It was a lack of knowledge. And if you track back again, when I speak and I share certain stories, there's a thread to it. It was at the point when I then realized that if this is happening to me, then it's happening to other people. Because they probably don't know, are environment does not necessarily instinctively teach you how to be able to invest and how you can get it done by banding together.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't, not that I haven't missed other, now really great companies. I have, but I'm okay with that. But then just realizing that, knowing one, that I could have done it as a collective. Two, that actually the investment is not as complicated as I thought it was. Yes, it's high risk, but shared risk is better than lone risk, right?
Yes.
So that is what is fueling me. The other part that's fueling me in terms of my eventual first investment, this is not my first angel investment. I have lost money.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I have lost money, I can't say I lost money because I knew what I was getting into.
Yes.
My money has not returned to me in cash form. But if you look on LinkedIn, the first way I'm described the super connector is returned to me in different ways. And for me, when I'm putting my money out to work for me, I'm aware that it's working for me, not just in ways that it will return cold cash or equity, which can become cold cash, but in ways that sets me up, that gets me into rooms that are absolutely unbelievable. For example, somehow ending up in a room with 14 CEOs who are all grossing above $1 million per year. And they want to hear me. And I'm like, oh, you want to hear me? Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So that really informs the way where I have landed with Sista Collective. Right? It made me realize the more that I was getting to a point where I was like, I want to really be free to be able to speak the way I want to speak. That there are other people like me who have a level of liquidity, but who don't necessarily know the how of, or who think, that check is too big for me. Oh, I cannot do it alone. And I said to myself, we don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a question I had been walking through and I've been chatting about. And I remember that I was in Mexico with a group of girlfriends. We went to high school together, finished in 96. We still do things together. It's 30 years this year. And I said to them, it's great we party together. It's great we do these things together. But if we were guys, our money would be working for us as a collective, typically, right? And I said, but why don't we invest together? Why are you thinking? And it began to emerge that majority of them had been sitting in this position where they felt like, I want to do it. I don't necessarily know how to do it, but I don't also necessarily think I have the means to meet what is sometimes the steep criteria to invest in things that we firmly believe in. I want to be able to share the risk, but nobody had been talking about it. So I made it a point that I said, no problem. I'm committing to you guys to do X, Y, Z over the next couple of years. That is how I began to bring in more people. So when people hear Sista Collective, sometimes they think, oh, you and your sisters. I'm like, yes, technically, maybe one of them is a blood sister, but every other one is a sister by choice. Meaning, I know you, I know your fallibilities, I know the perfectly imperfect way you've been put together, I know the stupid things that you have done. I trust you enough that I will pool my money with yours for us to be able to make a difference and build something great. We recognize we might be able to fail, but that's okay with all of us. We'll do it together.
And you are essentially opening up that circle, that tight circle to more sisters. What should someone expect when they want to join the collective?
Okay, so the Sista Collective, you can expect that we will be all up in your business, because this is money breaks, money makes. Meaning it is the ability to be able to join is very much dependent on your willingness to be as fully open with us as possible. We're not riding with people that there are questions around the way they operate. We're very much social impact driven in our investment thesis. We are very much oriented around ensuring that when we say yes to either an angel investing opportunity, or putting money in an existing fund, or further backing a startup that's about to scale, that we're doing it with founders, with teams that we not just believe in the idea of what they are building, But even more important, we believe in their capability to fail forward.
Mm.
And that is very important, because fail they will, exponentially or tinily.
But it will fail.
They will. Right? It's a part of building a business. Right? So that's our hope with Sister. That's my hope. Not just my hope. That's the direction that we're taking the Sister Collective very deliberately.
I love it so much. Wow. The fail forward part, people don't actually talk about. Everybody thinks investing is this glorious thing where your investment is going to turn into a unicorn. Do you feel comfortable talking about maybe one of your investments that didn't work out? Like,
I just had a conversation. I'm happy to answer it. I just had a conversation about one
today.
Okay, this past week, I've given okay that the founder can pivot because sincerely it ain't working out. And that's about being able to recognize that, okay, this was the direction. It looked like it was going to be great, but market forces have made it clear that actually maybe not so great. Maybe it's not the best thing to be doing. So let's move along.
Wow. Okay. And how did your sisters feel about this? Have you communicated with them?
How do we communicate it? Again, when you're angel investing, it's risk-based.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm looking at the folks on the call. Hopefully I'm talking to people who are either have done their research or already have done a level of investments, right? In particularly angel investing. When you do that, you have already embraced the possibility, the high possibility that your money will be gone with the wind, but the wind will bring you something else. If it's the founder is of good character, hopefully it's not shitty smells, right? And allow me to be frank.
Yes.
But if it's a good person, then you actually help them demonstrate that there's potential here. And it's about open communications, which is why for me the Sister Collective is really trust-based. Trust-based, both on the founder's part, but also on our part. One of my relatively favorite, and I say relatively favorite because human beings are imperfect, just like I am. Bosses said something to me. Said, trust is, like a horse. It rides to you on a horse pretty slowly. Maybe it's a walk, a canter. But when it is broken, it transforms into like a Ferrari. I like cars. I love cars. And it's gone like that. And being able to catch it once it's broken is near impossible. So communication. Yes, you can do your due diligence at the start. But if it's angel investing, it's kind of hard. Yes, you can review the potential. Yes, you can try and crunch the numbers. But at the core of it is your ability to be able to look at and know that, okay, this thing does have potential to fail. I'll give you a classic example. I started off a business. The numbers all looked like they made sense. Everything was well aligned. There was market hunger for it, yada, yada, yada. Brick and mortar business. So I also do those, right? It's an investment. Built it out. Everything was well aligned. Open doors, and within a month, we had to shut the doors.
Wow.
COVID. I couldn't have predicted COVID.
No.
There's no way. Everything was shut down. Everything was shut down. So we had to rethink and reorient. So that for me is when things don't work out as an angel investor, high risk, you have gone into it high risk. The ability of the founder to actually communicate very clearly through the entire process makes a huge difference. And because the relationship is typically based on trust, it's actually an investment more often than not in the founder or the team of founders, knowing their character as to what they will then do. Makes all the difference in the world.
I'm conscious we have 10 minutes and I know you're very busy, but I wanted to add one thing that I learned this week. I spoke to a founder and they're building a fund, and the fund is not investing in companies, it's investing in the founders. And I'm like, I love this because many founders might not succeed on the first or even second attempt. It's the third, or the willingness to keep going, saying that, oh, I need to keep going because I believe I have this vision, but also the investors believing in that founder, that person will somehow figure it out.
They will hit the right thing at the right moment.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think like it really resonated with me. I think that's the same thing
I
that
love
you were
that
talking
concept.
about.
And immediately I'm saying to myself, I want to know who they are. I want to know what they do, because this is the way we operate.
Yeah.
Roll over. We will keep rolling over until that founder, because we believe it's the person at the core of it, right? If people did not put money in Google or in the guys when they were in the garage,
Yes.
that's the
I
first
mean,
idea that they tried. You know how many times they've changed the ethos and the
yes.
and how many times the whole approach around search has changed?
Yeah.
Or if you even think about Microsoft is still here and rolling.
And it's a $3 trillion company, right?
Look at it. So Nvidia is relatively young, but
Yes.
there's a word for it that I use. It's not you won't find it in the Oxford English Dictionary. Stay with attitude. That's what my hope. That's what we are building with Sista Collective, where yes, we are investing in an idea, but an idea is just an idea if it doesn't have the right person behind it. So for me, it's the founders. It's in their character, in their expertise, in their grit. Old English word, not the British food. I know you live in the UK, but their grit, their core, their willingness to trudge through and then go after the next thing and build it. That's what I'm after. So, if you know great founders who are like that, I don't care if you failed before. In fact, I do care that you failed before, because if you've never failed, then you're not really succeeding.
I have one last question.
Yes.
And my last question is, you plan to invest in women. Why do you think it's important for other women to invest in women?
Because if we don't, who's going to invest in us? The numbers say it. I don't need to talk too much about the numbers. Women are grossly underfunded. In fact, I was at the Vienna Fest. It's their startup festival every year, about 3 weeks ago. And I will not mention it, but a woman who heads up an angel investment network said to me, so if you're going to be investing in women, you have to be very careful, because when they get married or they get pregnant. Meanwhile, in my head, I had a strategy about connecting with this person and learning from them. And I heard that with it, and I'm like, our thesis don't align. No.
In this 2026.
Not in 2026. Literally 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You know when I was in Vienna?
Yes.
Literally end of May.
Wow.
I'm not saying, still great personality, whatever it is, but instantly in my head, I'm like, if that can confidently come out, I am sorry, we're not aligned. So we're deliberate about investing in women, because there's a resilience that women have, that even if the world is falling apart, it will still gladly carry through, sometimes in bad ways, because then they don't necessarily take care of themselves. But it's not just about investing in female founders. We are also deliberate about investing in those who are building and recognize and are building for women. So it doesn't mean that if you're a gentleman founder and you decide to come my way, and I see what you're building and there's a belief in it, that I will not take it to my sisters. I will. But I unashamedly say that we have a bias for women, because historically we have been grossly underfunded, but more so is the recognition that stay with titidness that I have to nurture in men innately exists in a woman. With all my love to all my brothers.
Titi, this has been such a privilege. You know how much I'm a big fan of you.
Thank you for pushing me. I have to say this on the call. Joe heard what I had been doing. It's like, no, you got to do it. And I'm like, guy, leave me alone. I do things quietly, silently, moving fast. And it's like, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to pull this collective. Like, okay, let's see. And so to you and the team, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we want to make sure that we build Borderless to work for you, yourself, your collective, your sisters. And as you come on board, please don't take it easy on us. I know you won't, but I'll give you a reminder, give us feedback, because we want to build this technology to work for folks like you who really, really care about the work that you do. And my belief is, my personal thesis is Africa must prosper in my lifetime.
Yes.
Not the one after,
Mm-mm.
but this one here, like Africa must prosper in our lifetime. And many of us, myself, yourself, and many people have essentially committed their career to this. And this is my version of it. How can we help fund the continent forward? And I know I can't do it by myself. All I can do is build the technology.
Mm.
But we need people like you, your sisters, who beyond having access to capital, you have the willingness to just do it.
Mm.
You have the willingness to understand what angel investing is, which is failure is part of it. And sometimes it breaks my heart when I speak to other investors, and the question that they ask me is, Joe, how is it going to make me money? Of course, making money is not outside of the equation. It matters, because if the money is not coming back, we can't keep reinvesting.
Correct.
But beyond the money, what else? And when I used to be an investor, I've been very privileged to, I've invested across many things, and beyond the returns, I've learned so much about so many industries, and I wouldn't be building this company today if it wasn't because of our angel investments.
Exactly.
So this is my, these are the things that came out of the work, and I'm so glad we do. And I'm so glad there are people like you and your sisters who are coming together. And I just want to say that we're here to support, we're here to help. This is literally my full-time job. It goes on late at nights, most nights, 6 days a week, but I really care about it. So I'm not gonna lie, it does not feel like work.
Yeah.
And
that's what you're aiming for. A quick one. Because what Borderless does, and I had a question when we're looking to be able to, again, I'm happy to share, public knowledge. When we're looking to be able to put money as the Sista Collective in the Arua Fund 2, I came to you and I'm like, having heard of Borderless, I'm like, okay, make my life easy. I don't want to keep doing this thing where I'm pulling it. Make my life easy. Don't you do funds? And you're like, oh, not yet. I'm like, damn. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to one, the enablement that has been brought with your kind of platform, because I have tried to use other platforms. I have, right? I don't want to mention names here, but there are other platforms where there are angel investments that I've done that they have not kept one informed. Once in a while, I'll go and I'll see that, okay, it looks like the money is still stable, but it's moving. It's not moving. At least the initial investment is still there. So for me, having a Borderless in place that helps make it seamless for people who have relatively smaller checks to come together and band together and be a part of bigger cuts. That is democratizing investment. And that's something that I'm more than happy to actually put my money to. But, I'm being nice. Let's see. When you're ready to share equity.
I'm ready, yo. I will.
Yeah.
It's
So
coming. It's coming. But
Okay.
I think on that topic, on being able to invest in funds, it's something that I feel like you're going to be the one to help me solve it. Let me tell you what the problem is. It's a compliance and regulatory issue. And who does compliance? There you go. So it's something that really, really needs to be solved, because that's business for me, right? That's business for me. Why don't I want business? But because of the complexity of how we're building, we're trying to peel the onion one at a time. We just don't want to cut it one layer, and we want to do it really well. So yes,
I like that you're peeling the onion. I like that you're peeling the onion. I like that you don't want to cut it. But part of what needs to happen is the ability to be able to play in what everybody loves to say, the regulatory sandbox area. Get a government to give you enough of a sandbox. We know this hasn't been done before. We're going to suspend majority of the limiting rules to be able to see if this actually works. That's a conversation you need to have with a friendly government. Yes. And you have to outside. It's just that I'm expensive, so that I can keep investing.
Well, I need to make sure you join my capital soon, so that you're one of my investors. Titi, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Can we take maybe is it okay? We can do 5 minutes. I want to make sure people who have questions. Are you okay?
Oh, sure. Yes. I'm happy to Idara, my assistant, is on the call. Everybody say hello to Idara.
Hi, Idara.
She'll keep me honest if I am missing a meeting.
Yes. So for people who have questions, maybe we can take 2 questions. If people have questions, I haven't seen anything in the chat. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself, say your name, introduce yourself, and then go for the question.
I think I see that there was a question around joining the Sista Collective. Abolaji
Yes.
JB, not a problem at all. This is the second time, Abolaji, I think I'm actually getting this question.
Okay.
You're the same one who asked me the question. I think so. Give me a thumbs up.
It was me.
Okay, so there's a consistency there. There's an interest. There's a QR code I had asked to be put up. So feel free.
Yeah.
Complete the QR code. Anyone who has an interest. And we're not saying it's just women who can join. If you're a man, we'll weigh you. Maybe we'll talk to your mom first. If you have a mom. If you don't have a mom, we'll talk to your sister or your wife. Because I trust women's opinions a whole lot more.
I love it. So Janet, please introduce yourself and one question, please.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I joined pretty late, but I don't think I've listened and laughed and been educated at the same time. So thank you so much to Titi. My question is, so I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I work in the deep tech space and more recently built a fintech platform. But I always thought I would build and then become an investor. But I just realized, you know what, just if it's going to be hard and difficult, just go ahead and start doing small angel checks and supporting other entrepreneurs. So in my trying to figure out where is my space, I realized I'm really passionate about high school kids and about sports. So I've been giving small checks to students in high school, and I started with my actual high school. And we've done up to 20K. And with my mom and other family members, we're putting together a round of 100K that we can be able to disperse in 3K, 5K check sizes, ticket sizes to high school students. So the idea at that stage typically is not investing in whatever project or business idea they have, because some students are really brilliant and I don't think should go and park in academia. So we're investing in the person and giving them a 10 to 15 year period where we kind of expect to see some kind of return on the investment. So yeah, it's been a unique model, and we're just like hacking it through short WhatsApp conversations and TikToks that my mom keeps like sending to me. And I'm looking for someone maybe on the call or even advice from all the unstructured things I've mentioned that could really help us to start putting structure together and a small community together that's interested in youth, that's at that level, that's pre-teen, teen level, that might not even want to go to university and just build. Yeah.
Janet,
Sorry.
I think you're on the right call. I'll pass it over to Titi. Janet, if you want, we can help you with technology at Borderless. If it's something that you want, like if it's, my team will be able to onboard you, show you how it works, and hopefully we can help you structure this a little bit better. Sorry.
100%. That was going to be my answer. You're on the right call. You joined the right call. One, in terms of just having a technology in place that can help you make sense, that takes it. WhatsApp, phone calls, emails are a great place to have those conversations, but being able to have one central point that you are sure is secure and you can reference. I'm big on being able to have records in place. Makes all the difference. So Borderless is right. Two, I do think there needs, and this is just an initial hearing this for the first time, that yes, 10 to 15 year period, but what you are investing in the individual, to what end? What are you looking for an ROI on what they're building on the individual? How is all of that structured? I'd love to have a chat afterwards. Idara, please, could you put my booking link on the group chat and we can chat about it. But this is the right call. There are loads of, I think I've seen a couple of names. I'm like, okay, folks who can actually guide you on what that could look like as well. But I'm happy to chat. Okay.
All right. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
No problem.
Rumbi, question. Our 5 minutes. We literally have 1 minute left. So Titi, please.
I'll keep it short and snappy, Titi. This was great, super inspiring. I think in this specific question, I'm speaking on behalf of Dia Ventures, which is the first female femtech venture studio being set up in Africa. And I think, having a backing from a team like Sista Collective seems something that could, align quite well with some of our goals and some of the impact that we're trying to do within female health, women's health in Africa. So my question is, how do we come to you with some of the things we want to do and see if there's some sort of alignment, and maybe the collective could help us as we're building up this venture studio?
Okay, great stuff. Love that you're building. Love the focus on health. We mentioned earlier that agri-tech, fintech, and health tech, those are the three big bets. Not that we don't do any others, but those are for us, like, if you're healthy and you have money, you can eat, life is good. If some human beings don't show up and mess up the whole world, but separate combo, Titi, focus. So you can definitely reach out. Again, if Idara is not there, if you go on my website, titiakinsanmi.com, go to the booking link. I am cuckoo enough to keep my calendar open that you could book. That is going to change because I realize people don't show up sometimes. You can actually book time where we could have a bit more of a deeper conversation because I want to be able to understand what exactly it is you say you're building. A key point is at Sista Collective, when I say we are the Sista Collective, we're not just looking to be able to invest money. Money is easy. You can get funding. But even more important for us is that when we say we're investing in you, I said it earlier on, I said we get all up in your business. Meaning, if we identify that, okay, at this point in time, you are not what we are looking for per se in terms of where we want to put money, the level of expertise that comes with the women that I come with is immeasurable. Meaning the ability to be able to help you think through how do you access funding from the World Bank? How do you talk to the right sets of people you need to speak to in a room, 2 connections away, all of those things. And I'm looking at you and I'm saying, if you're building in health tech, then you should be checking out the Africa Health Tech Summit that will be happening in Rwanda, because there are great things that are happening out of there that is backed by significant money. Some of that is, I think it's Maduro, that's the funding partner, but happy to have a conversation. Okay.
No, that would be great. I'll definitely schedule some time with the lead team around there. So Thank you for that.
No problem, Rumbi.
Thank you, Rumbi, and it's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Joe.
Hi, Kizito, last but not least, and then we can wrap it up.
Kizito, you have a question for me.
Hi, Titi. Hi, Joe. Yes, I do. I think you answered that already.
Okay.
If Sista Collective is just biased towards like the female gender, but you do have screening on that. But I just wanted to get a sense of what the deal flow and the screening process looks like, for the opportunities that you assess or review. Is there like a framework around it, or is it referral based at this stage?
It's not. There is a deal flow around it. There is one in detail. If you have an interest, I will say go ahead and scan. And once we've gone through, we can actually share with you in more detail. But right now we have a due diligence process. Some of that relies on our capacity. Some of that relies on our potential partners, our partners' capacity. So for example, when we're doing a fund, we're leaning completely on that fund because again, our administrative capacity might not be as much. And typically we take, I think, plus or minus, if something comes our way, 4 to 6 weeks. We want to be able to get a decision out. Because I know one of the biggest pain points is people go like, we're a funding or investment arm, and they string founders along for forever. It's not good psychologically, emotionally, every other lead. We don't do that. I will let you know, plus or minus. We have an interest, we don't have an interest with immediate effect. We have a minimum check size. Again, when you become a part, or if you have an interest in becoming a part, we're happy to have that chat. But because of our experience, we don't make that a limitation. We help you think through ways in which you can be a part of the wealth building collective that we are. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Titi. I think that kind of answers the question for Honor, which is what's a typical check size from a sister for each investment. So you've done that. All right. Ona, did you want to read out the question, or
I'm trying to say.
Ona, do you wanna?
Is she still on it? Well, I can read it. It says, what's a typical check size from a sister for each investment? There's something that we say, what can you carry? There's a minimum, but
Yeah.
then what can you carry? What can you
Mm.
carry? And the
Fantastic.
other thing that we're deliberate about is for some of the investments, it's, oh, I'd love to be able to do this amount, but my liquidity means that I can only provide it over a certain period of time.
Mhm.
We'll make it work for you. I've actually covered for people until they could actually make it. Again, it's about ensuring that nobody is left behind. I know what it feels like. You can imagine missing Flutter because of what? Thank you. It's painful, but it's all right.
It's
Okay.
all right. And on that note, Titi, I want to say thank you so much for this session. It's been deeply insightful.
Thank you.
And here's a QR code for anybody who's interested in joining the Sista Collective. The collective itself should be live on Borderless soon. And two things are going to happen. So at the end of this session, this video will be available. So we'll send the recording. But also when the collective goes live on Borderless, this video will also be available for people who want to just get an insight of the person behind the collective.
Yeah.
And all this information will be available. Yeah, Titi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll be
Thank
back in
you, Shea and
touch,
the team.
and we'll work together to help the collective go live sooner than later. With your permission, we'll share clips of this video on our socials so that more people know about what you do. And yeah, we're here to support with anything beyond the technology. You know, the team, Yesoge, Temi are here when it comes to marketing, so we'll be able to support in any way possible.
Thank you very much. Not a problem. In terms of the content, we'll chat about in terms of just ensuring they sign off. Because you have made me tell stories that, like I said, I've not told in years and decades. So, but we're good. Thank you very much.
I'm glad
the way the team has handled this.
Thank you. And have a great day. I think this is the end, folks. You know what to do. Follow us on Borderless. Follow TT on all socials. And we have updates. Yes. So who is it going to be? You, Timmy, to run through the updates?
Yes, I will.
Okay. All right. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Timilola, and I lead marketing at Borderless. So Borderless, for anyone who doesn't know, is an all-in-one infrastructure for global diaspora communities, and we enable collective managers to start, engage, and scale their investment collectives effectively. So whether you want to co-invest or you want to manage your collective, we have the tools that you need. So I'll just run us through a couple of our key features. We have one is multi-collective access, which means that you have, when you join the platform, you have access to join more than one collective. So you can join Sista Collective and any other collective that you want to join, as long as it aligns with your investment thesis. We also have collective management tools as well. This is now improved, and what that means is that collectives collective managers can now set their collectives to be either private or public. So public collectives means that anybody can apply to join, but private collective means that people have to apply. It's not visible to everybody. You have to share the link with them before they can actually see the collective. So if you want to create an investment collective or you want it to be exclusive, we now have that feature for you. We also have multi-asset investments, which means that you can have multiple assets in your collective, right? Next is Borderless wallets, which is one of our newest features. So we're rolling out Borderless wallets to all investors. Each investor owns it directly, and you can top up and participate in opportunities instantly. So our wallets are basically powered by Bridge, which gives you the infrastructure to handle payouts and refunds reliably. You can top up your wallet, you can get refunded automatically if a deal doesn't proceed. For you to access this, you have to log into the platform. It's already live, so it's ready for you to use. We also have the membership management tools, which are basically tools for collective managers to manage their members. Basically, we have also improved this tool as well, which means that members now have the opportunity to email the collective managers directly. Managers can also email members directly and view their profiles as well. We also have investor accreditation, which means that every person that is an investor on the Borderless platform must go through a proper KYC process. You must go through proper accreditation before you can make any investments. We also have funds collection and disbursements in multiple currencies. And also another new feature is the discussions feature. This is basically a feature that makes it easy for collective managers to engage their members. So you can share an update. Members of your collective only would be able to see it and they can respond to it and basically get information as to what is happening in the collective. So community announcements, opportunity reminders, investment updates, and the likes. Next slide, please. Then Raised by Borderless is a simple, compliant way for founders to raise from friends and family. This is a product by the Borderless team. It's basically for early stage founders to be able to raise their first check, right? So we charge a fee of $500 for the founder, and then investors pay the remaining cost. We basically help you with onboarding, collecting funds from investors, making sure that you have an organized cap table that even sets you up for future bigger rounds as well. So if you're interested, you can go to www.onborderless.com/raise, or you can send us an email at hello@onborderless.com. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow us on social media. These are social media handles. You can also join our WhatsApp channel by scanning the QR code on the screen. Later tomorrow, you should get an email from us with a recording of this session and also more details on how you can be a part of Borderless. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye. Thank you, Titi. Thank you, Dara.